was a young gentleman, very gentle, very polite.
He said, if I see you again, I'll kill you.
He is the most popular Muslim leader in the Islamic world today.
When you hear his voice, it makes you want to stand up right away, to join him and fight.
What he's good at is killing civilians.
It's extraordinarily important that we kill bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden is the world's most wanted terrorist. He haunts Americans and millions of others around the world. He also inspires many to fight in a war that he intends to be long, costly and bloody. I'm Christiana Manpour in Peshawar, Pakistan, the birthplace of bin Laden's terrorist organization Al-Qaeda. Not far from here, just across the border in Afghanistan, he disappeared shortly after 9/11. And now, 5 years later, we still don't know where he is or when he will strike again. He wasn't a born leader. So what changed bin Laden? What shaped this son of Saudi wealth into the most feared terrorist of our time? To know more about Osama bin Laden, to bring you his whole story, we visited his homes, his headquarters, his hideouts. We journeyed in his footsteps, from Saudi Arabia to Pakistan to Afghanistan. We searched for answers from those who actually know him, his childhood friend.
He never talked about the American people in a nasty way.
His English teacher.
He understood a reasonable amount of English, but he was rather reticent at expressing himself.
The man who married his sister and was bin Laden's closest friend.
Osama always talked about his father all the time. His father is his model.
Men who fought with him in the early days.
He's brave and he's ready to give his life. He's not a coward.
We met those who revere him.
He is the one who stood up against the biggest enemy in the world, the United States, and we love him for that.
فإن كان التحريض على ذلك إرهابا وإن كان قتل الذين يقتلون أبناءنا إرهابا فليشهد التاريخ أننا إرهابيون.
He's a terrorist with surprising media savvy.
He was foreshadowing a plan that was already in effect.
He had a double agent.
My name is Ali Muhammad.
Working deep inside the US military. And he has repeatedly warned America that he is going to attack.
They said next few weeks will carry a big surprise.
Those who have prayed with him, lived with him, and fought for him share the story of his gradual but deadly transformation. From a quiet religious boy to the angry voice of holy war. Osama bin Laden grew up in the boom town of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, a town his father helped build.
Saudi Arabia in the 1960s was, of course, a fantastically wealthy kingdom. Jeddah was its main door to the west. It was its main port on the Red Sea, and a huge amount of building had taken place. I'm Brian, Five-Year Trailer. I taught Osama bin Laden English in Saudi Arabia in 1968 to 1969. Osama sat about two-thirds of the way back on the right by the windows. He was not an outstanding student academically. On the other hand, he was a very bright boy.
Although Arabic and religious instruction took priority, the Al-Thaga school, one of the top schools in the kingdom, was surprisingly progressive.
The boys had a Western uniform. They had trousers and shirts and jackets and shoes.
Fifield Shaler had taught a number of bin Laden's brothers. Osama's family was well known in Saudi Arabia. His father's career was the stuff of legend.
The bin Ladens were almost a storybook success.
In Saudi Arabia, the bin Laden name is everywhere. It's a vast empire with humble beginnings. The family patriarch, Mohammed, seen here in rare photographs, rose from a menial laborer to head one of the largest and most successful construction companies in the Middle East.
He built the airport, he built virtually everything that was standing more than 2 meters high had been built by bin Laden.
Mohammed bin Laden's business acumen would be passed on to his son Osama, who years later would draw on those same skills to set up his terror network. What makes this rare glimpse of Mohammed bin Laden so extraordinary is that he's seen here with Faisal al-Saud, the man who would become the Saudi king. It highlights bin Laden's very close relationship with Saudi royalty, a connection critical to his extraordinary success.
And he was quite a rough, unsophisticated character, and no airs and graces.
Unsophisticated but fabulously wealthy, and Mohammed bin Laden had many wives, about 20 all told, repeatedly divorcing and remarrying. He had more than 50 children. Osama was born in 1957 here in this Riyadh neighborhood. He was the only child his mother had with Mohammed bin Laden before they divorced. Then bin Laden and his mother Alia moved to Jeddah and lived here apart from the other wives and children. Mohammed bin Laden died when Osama was just 10 years old.
The school was abuzz with the news that Mohammed bin Laden had been killed in a plane crash.
Although it's not certain, some believe that this smiling boy, second from the right, is Osama when he was about 13 years old. He was quiet and shy. His teacher says he rarely spoke up in class.
He didn't show any particular signs of being a leader amongst men.
Yeah, well, he was a shy boy. He wouldn't talk unless he needed to. He would listen more. I'm Dr. Khalid Batarfi. I met Osama bin Laden in the early 1970s when we lived in this neighborhood.
This nondescript middle-class Jeddah neighborhood is where Batarfi, then aged 12, and bin Laden, 3 years older, became neighbors and best friends, going to the mosque together,